already. I can see us up, and
All right.
everybody looks great. Everybody looks good. So let's do a little cha-ching ching to my people
All
in
All right.
right.
Cheers
uh,
to cheers to
Brittany.
brunch and
Hey.
a day filled
Yeah,
with
that's right.
basketball.
Yes, it's definitely a day filled with
Oh
that.
yeah.
And it is the 46th episode, you guys. And let us take a look inside at RaveOn Sports app with founders James Clark and Brittany Harris. Sports app, it has real-time stats with the capability to watch live games. I was checking that out, as well as set up your own personal account. It's available on most app platforms. James and Brittany, welcome to the show.
Thank
Where
you very
we
much.
Thank you.
basketball, yes. Where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. Today we have an all-star cast of ballers today, which always makes for a great show. Please introduce yourselves, okay? Brittany Harris, introduce yourself. Talk to us about yourself, and then talk about the app a little bit.
So I am a gigantic sports fan. That's what people would say if you know me. If you know me, I'm a sports fan. I love UK basketball when it comes to every other sport. Since we don't have a pro team, I kind of float around. I don't have any loyalties anywhere. But when it comes to college, I'm ride or die. Might as well have it tattooed on my forehead. I love it so much. So that's partially why we created this app, is because we are just crazy sports fans, and we really wanted to create an app that would be for everybody, that everybody could use and have a good time with. You know, COVID really messed up sports for everybody. Nobody could watch sports together. You know, this was the best they could do, you know, having Zoom parties. And so we really thought about that, and we wanted to create an app where people could connect now, you know, during COVID, and then after even over. So we're really excited. We did a little test version of it this year, and we're ready to release it all the way. And so we're really excited about that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. James, talk a little bit about yourself. Talk about the app.
Yeah, my name's James Clark. I'm co-founder with Brittany. We're the two partners that help manage the app on the day-to-day basis, and we help with the development team and kind of guide them about what new features and how we want the app to look and all those different things we do. And like she was saying, you know, we really just wanted a sports app that for everybody to use, right? Um, Two of the big features that we have on there, like you were hinting at, we have those live game features. So when we do have game feeds for, you know, all the live games that are going on today, it does play by play, gives you great descriptions. We break it down into if something's a foul versus 2-point shot, 3-point shot, stuff like that. You get to vote on which plays you think were great. You get to vote and comment on, you know, what fouls you think the refs messed up. That's what we always like to do. Um, and, you know, then there's also group chats where you can talk about anything that you want. It has to do with that game.
Yeah, I was looking at it, how interactive it was, and I was getting all
Hmm.
into the live and then the stats and how you can comment on different things, and it's really user friendly, and I like the color scheme, with the dark screen and the red on it. It really brings it out. I like how it looks, and so kudos to you guys. I have a friend of mine, Tara Lynn Towns, over there trying to develop a buddy app, and you
Hmm.
know it's a long time coming, but it really is a process, and I really want you guys to talk about that, because there's a lot of people out there that go, oh, I'm going to create an app, I'm going to create an app, but they don't understand all the development behind the scenes, all of the ups and downs, how it's going to be okay, the next minute it's not, and the coding that's involved in the back of it. That's leading me to the next question. How did you guys come up with this concept of RaveOn Sports?
Brittany, I'll let you start with that
So,
if you want.
okay. All right. So I apologize if you hear some little chatter in the background. I have 5 kids. So they try their best to be quiet when I'm doing things like this, but they're not always super quiet. So if that's what you hear some little girls, and that's what that is. But we, like I said, we love sports. And so we wanted to find a way where we could create an app that was really for everyone. And we thought about what sports is, and what it's not, what it lacks. Sports is really about passion and about connecting with other fans. You want to talk about, people get on Facebook and post a status about, oh my gosh, did you see that dunk? Or what the hell was that foul call? I can't believe they would call something like that. And they do that because they want to be able to talk to people. That you want to talk to the person sitting next to you at the game. You want to talk to your best friend or your cousin about it. So that's how we thought about the app. So we created this really awesome chat feature that I love so much. So when a live game happens, a chat happens as well. So you can get in there and you can trash talk with other fans against the other team. You can also talk to other fans of that team. So it's a collective kind of way for you to be like, oh my gosh, this person is doing great, or everybody hates this call. The other thing too is it has a live game feature, like you mentioned, where it actually says what the plays are of the game, so you can vote on them. So if you really thought that the ref got it wrong, you can say that, and then you can make a comment under it. Can create your own profile and follow other people. So it's just a new way for sports fans to really connect. There's really an app that kind of has all of these features rolled into it like we did, and is able to create an app. I found that this year. It was not something that I had done previously. I'm a marketer. We all had this really great idea for this, but actually putting it into a concept, a usable concept, is different. So the biggest part of what we do is just the user interface, making it user-friendly for everybody, making sure that everybody can get in there and play with all the features and not get frustrated by it. My grandmother is in her late 80s, and she uses the app on a regular basis. And I know that she is a UK sports fan. She is die-hard like nobody's business. And I thought about her when I was making some of this stuff. Can my Nana chat? Is she going to be able to vote on the plays? Because she's going to want to do it. And I'm telling you what, she's in there. She's in there. She's trash talking other people. She's voting on stuff. She loves it. She's really excited about it. So we really wanted to make it easy for everybody and fun for everybody. And so we really tried to add some features that were different, that other apps didn't have, and that sports fans really wanted.
Yeah, that sounds great. That you kept your grandma in mind. James, you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. So we started making the app right around in 2018, and the thing that really kind of catalyzed it all for us was, and everybody was talking about 2018, the conference championship, Rams versus the Saints, and there was the big controversial call about at the end of the game should have been a passing interference call. Everybody remembers that video highlight. It was like the only thing everybody talked about for a week. That really made us want to build out the app for sure. It was a concept we had kind of talked about between the four co-founders for a little bit. And then once we just saw how much traction bad calls and bad plays and all that got on social media, and how people wanted to talk about it, whether it was ESPN or just random people on Twitter, but they didn't really have a source on how to quantify it or see it very easily. Like, people could talk about it, but you didn't know, did 80% of the country think that play got a blown call, right? So from that, we got the features together. We started talking to developers on how we could get it done. And that's what really started the RaveOn app as it is today, with the voting features. And then you can comment on specific plays, and then you can just be more general and be in that chat feature, kind of like how Twitter is just a general forum for people for a game, right? I will say, just like Brittany, I had no experience in developing apps before this. There is a lot you have to learn. Even if you're not a coder, there's a whole different language you got to learn. You have to be extremely patient. That's the biggest thing I'll say. Don't have an idea in your head and then not have the patience to expect everything to go wrong first. We had a lot of builds where we'd put it out there, we'd have bugs, it would crash, we'd spend 2 weeks trying to get through all the bugs, helping the developers find everything, go back through live game data, see what was working, what wasn't working. And then at the end of the day, even if your features are working great, you have to realize that you're building this for somebody else. So if it's not easy to use, like Brittany was saying, the user interface, then you have to, redesign how everything's working. So we always start with if it's easy to use and, people, it's, aesthetically pleasing, like you like the backgrounds, you like the colors, how all that's set up, that's what's most important. And then be patient with the development side and what your developers can put in as features.
Yeah, because You answered the question. That was definitely difficult to do. And a lot of people think that they're gonna just create an app and it's gonna take maybe 6 months. And I even see ads on Facebook like, oh, you can have your own app for $99 and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's gotta be some other stuff attached to all of this. No way in the world you could just say I want my own app and then all of a sudden it's there. So unless they have these preloaded apps that, and you just choose whether you want sports or you want, I have no
Yep.
idea. Never really looked at it to see what that was all about. But you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got James Clark and Brittany Harris on here for RaveOn Sports app. It's an absolutely fantastic app. We've been trying to connect for such a long time. I think it's been 6 months where Brittany said, "Hey, listen, I love what you're doing on LinkedIn," and we just started to connect from there. I was like, "Listen, I got to get you on the show." You introduced me to your app. I went on it several times. I downloaded it and just started to navigate around and toy around with it. Life happens. And I also coach. So now we're here finally on the show.
Oh, yay.
So it's like I'm glad that you guys are here to just give people a glimpse into different things. I like to talk about things other than sports and different avenues to basketball. Basketball isn't just basketball. There's so many avenues to it, all the way from, you can engage, using an app. So what sports does it cater to? If
So
somebody
right
comes,
now, okay. So right now we cover NBA, college basketball, men's college basketball, and NFL. Those are the three ones that we have all the live feeds for, and we have the team stats, lineups, and injury reports. So those are fully built out for all those features. We're always looking to try to expand into more sports, more leagues. The next one on the list is NCAA football. We're going to try to get that up and running before week 0 starts. But that's on the next one, and then from there we'll just keep building out into more sports. We can cover WNBA. We have the feeds for baseball. How our voting features interact with some of those gameplays are still things we're working on. But yeah, if all the fans of the app get on, let us know what you want next. That's we built it for sports fans, so the more they interact with us, the better the app's going to be.
yeah, absolutely. And it sounds fantastic. It looks fantastic already. Which platforms is it available on? iTunes, Google, iPhone, or Android? Like, I'm looking for that. Somebody's watching the show now and go, hey, listen, I want to go get this. Where can they go and snatch the app?
So you can get it on both Apple and Android. And like he said, we are working on expansions for the app. We're always going to be adding new features to it and making things better. This has been a very grassroots operation. We are a very small company right now, soon to be a big company. And, I am so excited that you have us on your podcast today. Just, me at night sending messages out on LinkedIn, telling people about the app. That's really how we've gotten our marketing. We haven't spent any money to get any of our downloads. It's really just been a grassroots kind of operation. We're actually going to, in 2 weeks, be in a pitch competition for small businesses here in Kentucky. And we're going to do one again in July. So we're really excited about doing that, being able to present this idea because we love it and get to really put it out there to everybody. So we're excited to be on here too. And you can find it on Google and Android, and you can download it for your phone or for your tablet. It works great for both.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. That's so yeah, I can go. So on my iPad, I can put it on my iPad too.
Yep.
Yes, yep,
Hmm.
you can.
All right, so that's cool. That's cool. And it's so easy when you could just drop it on something, like boom, 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 and keep it
Hmm.
going. 'Cause, our world is just spinning, and everybody's so busy and so occupied, and people want to stay engaged in sports, and so just the opportunity to just click on it and get all of that live feed, especially from the NBA. I'm just I'm a hoop head and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We were talking about off the cuff. There's so many games today, James. I'm talking about it. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
we talked about it earlier, and I'm going to find out your basketball story, and I'm also going to find out who it is that you like. But we got the Grizzlies and the Warriors, and then we got the Hornets and the Wizards, and they are vying for the eighth seed.
Hmm.
All right. And then the losers have to play 2 games to play into the playoffs or something like that. Then you got the Portland and the Lakers. And that was the first game that you mentioned. So I guess
Yep.
that's the one you're real excited about to clinch a playoff spot. So,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about girls basketball afterwards. But like who are your people and you too, Britt, because I know that you're a basketball fan over there too. But before you talk about that, you have to give me your basketball story. Did you play ball, or were you just that kind of dude that had the suction cups, sucked it up against the wall, or hung it up on the wall and you had a sock, and what kind of dude were you?
I mean, I grew up, played basketball with my friends, did some small leagues, didn't play in high school. I was a swimmer in high school and swimmer in college. So that was the sports that I went through. But, obviously, always been a fan of football, basketball. I'm 30 years old. We still go play basketball, me and my friends, just go hooping every once in a while. But so it's always been fun. It's always just a great way to socialize with people, and that's what obviously keeps people coming back to sports. Whether or not however high up the ladder you went professionally, it's always just fun to have that good group of friends that you just want to go play some sports with.
Yeah, absolutely. And swimming is a great sport. I mean, I wanted to be a swimmer, believe it or not, before I wanted to be a basketball player. I love the water, love swimming, diving. I wasn't a good, like backstroke. I just and the floating aspect, forget about it. And I couldn't understand that because I was a great swimmer. It's like there's an art to floating, and maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit. But um, who you got? Who you got? All of these people out here, Grizzlies, Warriors,
Yeah.
Hornets, Wizards. Who you got? I mean,
The biggest game for me tonight is, I mean, just for about everybody, Portland and the Lakers, how that matchup is going to end up for the Western Conference, because the Lakers are probably don't want to be in the play-in tournament, especially if they're going to be playing the Warriors. Um, that's a team that's starting to go real hot right now with Curry and Green there. And, LeBron and AD, they haven't had everybody back for a while. So I wouldn't put all my cards down on a play-in tournament where they've had limited minutes all playing together. So they're not the only other team like that either. I mean, the Nets didn't have everybody for 30 games. They just now have all their team back, starting to go into playoffs. So it's going to be a crazy next couple of weeks here.
yeah, absolutely. About who's gonna gel. So, if you have to pick it, Grizzlies, Warriors, who you got?
Um, Grizzlies or Warriors? Well, I'd say Warriors. Grizzlies will probably be playing the Spurs. Is what it's going to look like for that 9-10.
Okay.
Lakers versus the Warriors. I don't know. My
Lakers and
gut.
Portland? Isn't it Lakers, Portland?
So Lakers Portland's going to be playing. They're trying to play for that 6 versus 7 seed tonight, so that they're trying to stay out of that play-in tournament. That's what the Lakers are shooting for. If Portland wins against the Suns, or not the Suns, let me pull it up here real quick. So if Portland wins against Denver tonight, they seal that 6 seed spot. And if the Lakers win tonight against um, the Pelicans and the Portland loses, then they switch spots for that 6-7. So that's just going to be an interesting round of games today. The other interesting thing for me is that Eastern Conference thing where the Knicks, the Hawks, and the Heat all land in that 4-6 spot. So he has to play, the Bucks going right off into the first part of the tournament. The Heat might not hate that too much. It pretty much be exactly like last year for that Eastern Conference Finals, and they beat the Bucks pretty handily last year. So
Yeah, they smoked them.
yeah, Brittany loved that series. She's a huge Tyler Hero fan.
I'm a
Really?
yeah,
He's
so
starting to come back. He's looking like playoff hero again.
I know. So that gets me really excited. So my basketball story is a little bit different. I know you can't see me from right now, but I'm not really close to being basketball height. I'm 5 foot and just a smidge. So, and I actually was not like, I'm not coordinated either. So it's those who can't watch, I guess, is what you would say about it. But I'm a crazy basketball fan, especially. My mom gave me some fantastic marriage advice, the only marriage advice she gave me. My husband's a huge basketball fan. And she was like, if you don't really start to love basketball, you will never have anything to talk to with him. And she was right. And so I became obsessed with it. And now I know why everybody loves it. I mean, sports are meant to be interactive. You don't want to, I mean, nobody wants to watch a game by themselves, scream by themselves. I mean, who are you cussing to? I mean, if nobody's there to hear you do it, I mean, it's just not even fun. It's just maddening. So, that's one thing that I love about sports. But like he said, I bounce around in the NBA and in football too, because we don't have a team close to here. And especially in the NBA where we have so many UK players, I always feel at home when I'm watching an NBA game and seeing these players. Like I saw Anthony Davis play when he was 18, when he was first coming out, and to see him now, a grown man, and Julius Randle when he was a kid and now he has kids. It's just kind of a cool thing that we get to see that I don't think other schools have. But I am a huge Tyler Hero fan. I loved him when he played in college. I like that kind of fast basketball. I like how he shoots. I like his kind of, enthusiasm and cockiness during the game. I love it. I bought a Tyler Hero jersey, one of the Miami Vice ones. I wear it. That was my birthday present to myself. So I'm really excited. He kind of had a little bit of down slump there. I was a little bit worried about him, but now he feels like he's picking stuff up because last year in the bubble, I mean, he was just crazy. It was just crazy. I was just screaming my head off in my living room. So I'm really excited for that. I think that they can, I hope if he really plays well, I think that they're a better team with him. And, I agree with what you said about the Lakers. They haven't all been healthy and it's been rough for them. AD's been out some, LeBron's been out some, I don't think that they've really had time to kind of get it together. But I do know that if anybody can pull a team together, it's LeBron and AD. I
That's
mean,
true.
last second, I mean, he can drag a team to the finals by himself. And with AD, I mean, come on. So I doubt them, but I don't doubt them because when it comes crunch time, I mean, LeBron wants to win above anything else and he's willing to do whatever it takes. So my money is still on them too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you called out some great teams and some great players, and especially UK. That's just like basketball originated there, in the Peach Basket, and it's just to have watched it grow, and I remember playing there, the Rupp Arena, and it's
Yeah.
so hard to play there. Hated it, you know. Huge arena. Didn't matter if it was women's basketball. They filled it, and the fans were fantastic. It's like
We
Kentucky Derby basketball.
exactly.
Basketball.
We have a really great guard at Kentucky, a female guard named Ryan Howard, and she is fantastic and she's definitely going to play in the WNBA next year. And she's great. So if you haven't been watching her in college, pay attention to her because she's going to be big.
Call her name out again.
Her name's Ryan Howard, and she's a guard
Okay.
for UK women's this year. Yep. So keep your eye on her.
All right. Letting it be known out there that
Yes. Putting it
UK
out there.
UK is in the house, and I want to say thank you to a friend of mine, Rebecca Van over there, sending me this T-shirt. You know,
I
Rise as
like
one.
it.
Real nice. I get people sending me stuff, so I give them a shout out. You got to give me a T-shirt at least. Don't send me a pair of socks or a headband and then think I'm gonna give you a shout out. But I appreciate it. She's doing big things over there. Got a movement going on. Coaching women's basketball, raising two kids. I
Oh,
just love
that's
it.
great.
Multitask. We multitask. We multitask.
Yes.
We can do so many things. Come a chameleon, and that's who we are. And as for the women's side of basketball, I am anything Las Vegas Aces originated, Utah Stars, San Antonio Silver Stars, and now the Las Vegas Aces. So that's who I am completely and totally, you know, um, indebted to them, but I do love other teams. However, I do love Courtney Williams down there in the ATL. I do love Shakina Strickland, Strick 40 out of Tennessee. Everybody knows about Tennessee shooting bombs over there. Got at 2 o'clock today. The Liberty and the Fever are playing as we speak. Right now, I'm looking at Boston and New York is playing, and Boston is having a hard time. New York's giving them a 55-42 right now. Um, uh, and they're playing in New York, so we'll see how that plays out. New York is on fire right now, not to go away from women's basketball. They're on fire right now. It's kind of like
Yeah.
I've never been a New York Knicks fan, even though I'm in the area. I was always the Philadelphia 76ers. My West Coast teams, Golden State Warriors. And then I have friends on different teams, so I don't really like to cheer like that, because I know people, so it kind of gets hard. So I'm just like the cheer of the people on the team, and I want them to do well. And if their team wins, it's great. But yeah, man, this is just great basketball out here. Great basketball out here. Um, and then you got the Mercury and the Connecticut Sun play tonight at 7 o'clock. So women's basketball. Talk to me a little bit about who you like on that side, James. Got any team? I think you're on mute.
All right, you hearing me now?
Yeah.
This microphone's a little bit dodgy. So, yeah, women, WNBA, kind of like NBA for us here. It's not really so much about having a team because we don't have professional sports in Kentucky, right? So it's just like you were saying, we tend to follow players and root for them more so than other teams. Unfortunately, I haven't been following the WNBA for at least from the UK side for a while. So I wish I could tell you exactly like here are my two girls that I'm voting for, but unfortunately, haven't had a whole lot of time to pay attention to it lately.
That's
So
all
I'm
right.
glad the
So
season has
so
started and it's on my radar. I'm watching everything now. But yeah, this past year hadn't had a whole lot of experience with WNBA yet.
yeah, and it's okay, cause now that I mentioned it, you're gonna watch the games, and you're gonna sit
Oh
there
yeah.
and
I
watch it
mean,
with.
like I've gone to women's college games here that they play at Rep Arena. Love watching the women's team for
Yeah,
UK.
definitely. We could talk about that all day. UK is just a household name, men's and women's basketball household name. We could talk about
Hmm.
that all day. Um, uh, and as long as you're getting some women's basketball, you're bringing your girls to see some games. I think that's fantastic. That's a great way for you to bond with them too. A great way for you to bond with them. Daddy get points for that.
Oh, I don't have any kids yet, but
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
thought you said. I thought I heard you say daughters. My bad. But yeah, definitely. See, I'm talking it up, so I don't know who
Oh
you
yeah,
with.
you're good.
So,
Last year for women's was a little bit interesting. Our longtime head coach, Mitchell retired, right? So that all kind of changed everything up. Um, I'm trying to I'm trying to find her first name real quick. Our coach, but it's definitely been interesting to see that progression because she's been our first female head coach, I think, in the history for the program. But we really were hoping for them to make a Final Four run this past year. Unfortunately, just they didn't get all the way through. But it was a great season.
yeah, but you got to think about all of the factors and all of the obstacles that were involved this year with the pandemic, and there were a lot of teams that normally make it to the dance that just didn't because the pandemic affected them in some way, or the
Hmm.
team decided the school may have decided to opt out. So there were a lot of things that affected people this year, and so they're a team that I always expect to see in the playoffs and in the dance, and so with that being said, we're gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
Britt, so what's up? You watch any of the games? You check out any of the WNBA games?
I am a huge college fan. It really was not until the past 2 or 3 years even that I made my way into NBA. I just, for whatever reason, like for me, college basketball used to be everything because they're just young and they're hungry and they're just fighting it out. And I just love it. Men's and women's college, I mean, you're not going to get just college sports in general is so exciting. I'm not a volleyball fan, but I watched the volleyball tournament for the women's and we took home, I mean, we won this year and we had never done that.
Hmm.
And watching the rest of that tournament was exciting. But Kira Elzy, I think is how you
Yeah,
pronounce
yeah.
her name. Yes, yes. So she is our new head coach for the
Yeah.
women's basketball, and we haven't had a women's coach. And so that is really exciting. So I'm so excited to see what she can do with a full year after COVID, where they're going to be able to get together and play in person and just see what this team can really do. We really have a good team that Matthew Mitchell has built up over the years. We've had some really strong women players come through there. And so I'm really excited to see what a woman coach can really do there. I'm so excited about that. So I'm going to watch more WNBA games, but I'm like in my heart, I'm more of a college fan than anything else because I just think when they're at that level and they're just, it's all heart. Not that they don't want to win, but sometimes when the money gets involved to me, like they're playing to make it to get money. So it's different. It's just they're leaving it all out there on the court. It's beautiful. I love watching it. They're crying. It's awesome. You
Yeah,
can't beat it.
Hmm.
You can't beat it.
you can't. NCAA basketball is fantastic. March Madness is fantastic. This past
Yes.
year
Yeah.
was
We
fantastic.
Yes.
Pandemic and all. This year was just so good. I was so proud of like, especially the production,
Yeah.
and the way that they portrayed it, and with the pandemic, and everybody having to social distance, and how they had the commentators, distant from the player, but it all of a sudden it just gave the player a different image, when they had to do that social distance. It kind of like
Yep.
when the person who was doing the interviewing was speaking, it was solely on them. And then
Mhm.
when they asked the person the question, or the player the question, it was solely focused on them instead of having two people or three people in the camera like we are, and eyes can catch everything. You just had one person. You kind of actually got a lot more personal with that person in 3 minutes than you ever had. And so the pandemic has done a lot to bring us closer together in different ways, and making us become a lot more creative during these times. And most billionaires and millionaires become billionaires and millionaires during these times.
That's
Times like
exactly right. That's exactly right. Because there's a bunch of changes that happen. And if you're able to, think, what's next, if you're that kind of person, then absolutely. And I think another thing that the pandemic and just, this last year has done is it's kind of shed some light on some things that need to change. I know for the women's tournament, that was a really big thing that everybody was talking about, the NCAA women's tournament.
Yeah.
For a long time, it was kind of a hidden thing that there were differences between how the men were treated and how the women were treated. And with social media and with TikTok and everybody being able to put this stuff out there, they just put it out there. And they're really demanding that these changes be made for them. And I'm really excited about that too. There should not be a floor difference where they stay. There should not be different allowance, a clothing allowance difference, food differences. And so I think them really getting to have a voice this year and them saying this is what's been happening behind the scenes and this is how it is. And everybody got to kind of watch that. So I think that the NCAA is kind of taking notice. And I think next year things are going to be even better for the women in basketball coming up and for the women in the future. So I'm excited about that too.
yeah, absolutely. Same blood, sweat, and tears. And so
Yes.
there should be the same reward at the end of the tunnel. And so, with that being said, you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Adrian Goodson, I got James Clark, Brittany Harris on here. Rave On Sports app. Check it out, download it, go look for it. It's hot. It's definitely user friendly, I would say. And you said that your grandmother can use it, so we
Yes.
definitely got to be user friendly. Um, how can people get in touch with you guys on social media, like if they wanna like check you guys out. Where are you at, James? Where are you at, Brett?
So we have all of our social accounts at RaveOn Sports. So for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those you can just search up the names. You'll see us and our icons pop up. My personal one is at jmclark underscore, and I repost just about everything that I do with RaveOn and then some other stuff. I've got a 100-pound German Shepherd that's all over my Instagram. So if you like dogs, you can follow me too, personally. But Brittany, go ahead. You can go with your personal ones too if you want.
Yeah, so he said all of our Rave on social links. I am at Lyric and Love on Instagram, and then I also have a TikTok account. If you can find it, then you can watch it. But I'm not going to give it out on here because my kids, I already embarrassed them enough on there. Any more watchers, and they're just going to die. So most of my content, if it's not about work, it's about, them, and obviously me poking fun at them because I have 5 kids. But all of our other social links are RaveOn on there, and we hope you guys will follow us along. We're going to give updates about the app and just talk about things that we have coming up next and the
Mhm.
podcast that we're going to be on. So we're really excited. So
Yeah, we repost most of our videos from Instagram and stuff like that. They're all on TikTok also. We know people are really loving that platform. We like using it too for content creation. So yeah, we're on all the major social media platforms, and everyone should like reach out to us if you're a fan of the app, or if you've got questions about what's coming next on the platform, what you'd like to see next, like what new
yeah,
sports to put in.
send
If
us
you
your suggestions.
Yeah, send us the suggestions because our entire goal is just to make the best sports app for fans that we can. And, we've decided to come out with, the voting features and comment features specifically to try to recreate that feeling that you have when you're actually at a game, you know, talking about whatever sport it is to the people next to you that you don't know. It doesn't matter if you've known them for 10 years or for 10 minutes, you're all talking about the same team that you love. That's what we really wanted to emulate in the app, and um, everybody's input's important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, even before I let you guys go, um, there's some people out there that are really interested in creating an app.
Mhm.
Before we get out of here, I'd like both of you guys to give that person some advice. In the good times and in the bad. They make it really easy for you um, to create an app right now with these different offers that are out here, especially on Facebook. Somebody may be thinking about doing that. What advice could you give to people that want to create an app? Because it's not an easy thing.
I would say the biggest thing is, once you have your idea and you want to create an app that does something, always remember that people are actually your biggest resource, right? So um, whether you're an actual programmer, a developer, or you're just a creator that has an idea, um, talk to a lot of people. Attach yourself to people who have the same goals, and use people as your major resource as far as anything else goes. Because when times start getting tough, which it will happen, apps are never perfect on the first go around. Ours is still technically, we call it's still in beta because we keep adding features, and every time you do a new build, you're doing 2 weeks of debugging and stuff. I mean, me and Brittany, we have to do that every single time we put a new build together. But it's easier when you have smart people around you that are, everyone has the same goal. You understand and you know how to talk to each other. It's going to take a little bit of time because you're going to have to learn a new language, especially when it comes to talking in between yourself and the programmers. If you're not a programmer, you're going to have to learn like what is a front end, what is a back end, the UI, what type of text implications that there are, how much spacing is controlled in an app. And, there are going to be times when your ideas just can't work. And developers will try to explain it to you, and you're just going to have to accept it if you're not a coder. So while there's, unlimited possibilities, there are some things so that you just can't do yet in coding and apps. So be patient and use people as your resource. That's the biggest thing that I can tell people.
I think you're on mute. But I would say that, having a great idea is really a good starting point. If you don't know how to code, if you're not familiar with app development, if you haven't done it before, take classes. There are all different kinds of online courses that you can take to really get started in this industry. It's not something that you can't learn. I think that it's still an up and coming industry. So there's still room for, new apps and new ideas out there, which is what's really exciting about it. Be patient with yourself and really kind of dig in, like you said, and figure out, what you're making the app for, what your idea is, who your ideal audience is while you're creating it. And as you start that way, while you're going along, you always have those things in mind. But this is really something that we're excited and passionate about. I didn't know anything about app development when I first started this, but I was really excited about learning. So it's been a labor of love that I'm really excited to see something from the very first line of code to the very end, something that's usable and real. So it's really something exciting that I think, if you're passionate about it, I think that have the opportunity with a great idea to really get in and do something spectacular. But just really getting yourself educated and putting a good team around you is probably the most important thing.
And that's a fantastic way to leave the people out there. I have some people I want to definitely shout out. I got Patty out there. I got Jeff Hood out there screaming New York Liberty, watching the show. Said, kudos to you for the 5 children, amazing grace. Keep up the good work. And they're saying,
Thanks.
thank you. It's a great conversation, and thank you for it's a candid conversation, and thank you for the information that you're putting out there, because there are people out there that are interested. Right now is the time to rebuild yourself. A lot of people have lost their jobs, so now
Yes.
it's to redefine yourself, recreate yourself, and figure out ways that you can create income on the other side of this pandemic. And this is how my podcast has come about. I said that I was going to go into it, but I wasn't going to come out the same as I went into it. And this is how 46 episodes of a WNBA State of Mind came about. And so I want to say to the people, remember to download, subscribe, and support a WNBA State of Mind on all your listening platforms. All right. And especially and particularly on Spotify. You got Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and iHeart. Follow me on Instagram under Adrian Goodson .official, and on Twitter at agoody15_WNBA. And to all my people, I love you. Sammy Sosa, we're gonna take it out of here. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, James and James.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. Love to be
Thank
back
you
on.
so much.
Yes, definitely. And you guys have got to follow me on Instagram. Okay, so
Yes.
this you know, I can tag you on some of the stuff that I put up about you guys. And then when I put it up on to make it live on the podcast and everything like that.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Okay? Because I think we're only friends on LinkedIn.
Okay, I'll go
Just,
through
yeah,
and do that right now.
for now,
Yeah.
we'll get all of our information out to you.
All right. Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much. Have a good
much.
Sunday.
Bye.
All right. See you later.
WNBA State of Mind in the house. Here we go.